you're giving consent to have us record by being here. Okay, so of course, please stay on mute if you're not talking. We would love it if you'd use the Q&A feature for questions or comments. Again, that's for the record. Chat works too, but the Q&A is kind of a little more formal. We are going to address all questions and comments after the presentation. So if we don't get to yours, we will plan to address it at the next meeting. And then this is really important. So please use the email address energystorage@ctgreenbank.com for all correspondence. And that includes written comments, which we really do urge you to submit. We are relying on those written comments for this process, so please do send them along. Okay, let me quickly introduce our team. From UI, we have Rob Whalen. Sarah, you want to flip to the next slide? Yeah, cool, thank you. And then from Eversource, we have Bill O'Connor. If you're here and you wanted to go off, turn on your camera and wave, that's cool. If not, that's fine as well. From Eversource on the program, we have Bill O'Connor and Amy Finlay and me. And from the Green Bank, we have Sergio Carello, Sarah Pine, Ed Karanich, Matt King, and Mary Vitchell. Okay, so our agenda for today is pretty basic. First, we're going to look at why we're here again, just a quick recap of what we're trying to accomplish. Then we'll review some of the comments that we got from last meeting, look at what took place then. Then we'll do a quick look at the contractor application, and then we'll open it all up for a discussion. So that's it for me. Rob, over to you. Want to talk about the application process working group?
Sure. Thanks, Jen. So good afternoon. So reason why we're all here is we were ordered per the last docket to streamline the application process for the program. So when I say streamline, that means, trying to pull out what items we may not deem necessary to get the application in, and then just, shortening the process to be able to review that application so we can get our approvals through a lot more. Current state is there's a lot of documents that are required up front. In some cases, we hear contractors, vendors saying, there's a little bit of, they're kind of doing duplicative efforts where they're submitting applications for the program, and then they get to the interconnection phase and they're submitting, kind of the same information there. So we're really pushing to streamline everything. A lot of vendors offer an in-app enrollment process. So we're just trying to move to that type of model. I would add that, in last year's docket, we now rolled out an active-only dispatch model. So we might have customers that already have batteries or customers migrating over from other programs that, just want to utilize their battery for active-only and really aren't interested, or it's too late for them to take advantage of an upfront incentive for a new system. This would also fit within that context as well. And this is just some additional disclaimers here about, what we plan on doing with the feedback. And to Jen's point, it's kind of like speak now or forever hold your peace. We're going through this. I think we've got 2 more meetings after this. We're going to file a final report with the regulatory authority. But typically what happens with a working group like this is we'll allow participants to file comments, which we will file as amendments with that report. With the regulator, so then everything will be on file and there's reference points. And then once this is done, we'll start to have technical meetings and there'll be back and forth conversation, and ultimately the regulatory authority will have final say of what this new design and process will look like. So thank you.
Thanks, Rob. So as Rob mentioned, we're at meeting 2. We have 2 more meetings after this. They are going to be back-to-back Thursdays, so February 1st and February 8th. And the future meeting invitations will be sent out shortly. So please stick with us through all of the meetings if you are able to. And going to hand it over to Ed to go through the meeting recap from the first meeting.
Thanks, Sarah. So yeah, we just wanted to go through some of the questions that came in the first one and just give you a quick update on where we are for you know how we will address them and if we can. So just kind of going down the list, Lon had a question of being able to see the status of projects from other installers or other salespeople within your company. That's something we just brought it up to our Salesforce developer last week. So at the moment, we think it's possible. Might be something manual. I'm not sure if we can automate it, but we're working on it, and we want to make that available if that's something that people need. So we're on it for for that one. Um, Jordan Graham from Tesla had submitted a number of questions about certain things that we could possibly do to make enrollment for active only customers within like an in-app environment, like through a Tesla app or SunPower app or whoever else. And we are still actually looking through some of these questions. I think in general, we agreed with a lot of, ways to trim things down. And there are a couple of items that I think the key to shortening the application process lies with the info that we can receive directly from the utilities. So that's something that we're preparing to have our utility partners, Amy, Jen, Rob, Bill, talk to their interconnection departments to see what kind of info can be shared back and forth. Unfortunately, the utilities are big companies, so having the EDCs among our program admins, it's a different department, so it does take some coordination there. But we are on the same page. We really want to be able to share info and automate things as much as we can. Getting projects into the Mercury platform of Energy Hub sooner. We will talk in the third meeting, so and I think it's in 2 weeks, on the DERMS process with Energy Hub and GGS as needed in that one. Question from Jessica. We need an email that basically just confirms everything at the end. And we do actually have a confirmation of funds letter. I think a bunch of those actually went out today for projects that are about to get paid for active dispatch, but we don't have one for passive, or I'm sorry, for the confirmation of funds goes out for passive dispatch. We didn't get any letters, or we don't have a process yet for getting letters out for active only customers yet. But we absolutely agree with you. We do need to get a notification that says you are enrolled and you don't need to do anything else and you're ready to go. So that would be something that we have to get sooner in the process so that you don't have to wait all the way until payments. Next question from Tony. Will the program be moving, or have we thought about having a requirement for different types of chemistry? In this case, it was LFP. We will only follow what the UL and National Fire Code and Connecticut State Building Codes are. So as of right now, I mean, PIERA wants us to open up the program to other types of energy storage, not just electrochemical batteries, and mainly that's going to be lithium batteries. Yeah, so kind of short answer is no, but long answer is yes. We are always concerned with safety, and we want to make sure that everything abides by all of the applicable UL rules. Next question, Mike from Earthlight. For the commercial program, we're going to be pausing all approvals on the commercial side by June 15th, if not sooner, if we don't reach 100 megawatts of capacity by then. At this rate, it looks like it'll probably be June 15th. I don't think it'll be sooner, but we'll definitely notify contractors if it becomes sooner. And it is passive enrollment. So technically, active only projects could enroll. So far we haven't seen any active only C&I projects. So, but yeah, I think you could enroll an active only project after June 15th. And last one, just wanted to check if the process of submitting residential and commercial battery is the same. It's generally the same. I know we walked through it in the contractor trainings. We walked through it last week. The process is almost the same. The little bit of difference is that you don't need a full contract, like a signed executed contract. You just need a letter of intent. And you do have to submit your interconnection application before you submit the incentive application to us for a commercial project. For residential, you don't have to. You should do it as soon as you can. But for C&I, you need to submit that application. And that's generally it. There is a requirement in some cases for a resiliency plan, but that's kind of a narrow use case. So short answer is generally it's pretty much the same. So I think that covers all of those. Just to kind of recap, and again, these questions, I know a lot of them were, the short answer is like we're still working on it, but we won't forget, and we do want to talk about this at the next meeting as well. So we won't let any of these things languish without talking to everyone again first before deciding.
Awesome.
All
All
right.
right. Well, I think we're ready to kick off the demo of the eligible contractor and third-party system owner application. So Matt, do you want to share your screen?
Yep, I'm gonna throw it up right now.
Awesome.
Okay. Can you all see my screen okay?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so most of you are probably familiar with the contractor resources page. Just for clarity, the way to get to the eligible contractor application is through this top link right here. And once it loads, and this is the form that we ask all contractors who want to become registered with Energy Storage Solutions. They fill out this form. It's a one-time application, so unlike the incentive applications that we covered last meeting that are kind of happen frequently and multiple times and are on like a per project basis, this application occurs just once. And so now we can get started, and I'll walk through all of the fields that we typically have contractors fill out. And this will be relatively quick, but the first few here are asking whether you're going to register to be a contractor, a third-party system owner, or both. Next is asking which customer sector you intend to work in. Again, you can do residential, C&I, or both. Next here is the purchasing options that you're allowed, whether purchase, PPA, or lease. I'll click all three just for the example. The next one here asks if you've ever participated or been an eligible contractor for any of the other programs that were run by the Connecticut Green Bank. This one, I'll click for this example, no, but just for as a heads up, if any of the checkboxes up here were clicked, so if you participated in a past program, you'll actually get the application you have to fill out will be much shorter, just because a lot of the paperwork that we ask for will already be on file with the Green Bank. Next, we ask which equipment you're eligible to install. I'll click a few here, just again as an example. Other. Next here, this is one of the fields that will actually you won't be able to fill out if you did participate in a past program with the Green Bank, and that's the references. So if you are a brand new contractor to us, we ask for 3 customer references here, and these are the boxes just to fill out. So name, email, phone number, and a description of the project. Next up is the electrician's license. So all eligible contractors must have a valid E1 license to participate in the program. We just ask for the name of the licensee, the license number, license expiration date, and also a photo or copy or like a PDF copy of the license to be submitted here. Then one thing you might notice, if you choose the subcontractor option here, we'll just ask for an additional subcontracting agreement if you have it available, as well as an HIC registration number and the expiration date and just a photocopy of that as well. Again, that's only if you click the subcontractor option above. If you don't, then none of this will pop up and you just have to submit the E1 alone. Next are a few documents. One is the bank reference letter. The next is a certificate of general liability insurance. Then if you notice these manufacturer equipment certifications, these are the equipment checkboxes that I filled in above. So it's Enphase, SunPower, and then other if it's a different manufacturer that isn't listed above. These are just certifications that we ask for from the OEM directly that essentially attests that you're eligible to install the equipment and have been trained in how to do so properly. Next up is the different contracts or sales agreements. We ask to get a copy of each of these. It can be a blank copy, but we ask for a template to review them. The key thing we look for in this part of the review in the contract is that there's a place on like the system cost page or wherever that's listed. We want to make sure that in that system cost you also factor in the estimated upfront incentive for the customer. This is just to make sure that the incentive values are properly communicated to the customer during this agreement. We asked for similar reasons. We asked for the leasing agreement or PPA agreement if you offer those options to customers. If you don't offer these options, then these file submission links won't actually show up either. The next thing we ask for is a copy of the workmanship warranty. We ask for a minimum 10-year workmanship warranty for all eligible contractors. And next up here is the build your profile section. So this is all information that we ask you to fill in for us. And this is information that we're going to publish to our website on our contractor list. So we ask for the company name, a logo if you have one, how many years you're in business, descriptions of your company, and as well the first and last name and any other contact information for whoever the lead contact at your company would be. Also some fields for the website, address, city, state, and zip code. And then the next part is also pretty important. These user fields. This is how we collect the information for the people at your company who are going to be the ones with a Salesforce account to access our contractor portal. So we just ask for the first and last name of the person and the email. And if you have a secondary user that you want to sign up for access as well, you have the option to add them there too. And then last but not least, we asked for a signature here and the date of the signature, just attesting to the terms that are laid out in the program manual at this link here. Once that's all filled out, you can click submit. The Green Bank will get pinged to the Green Bank that you submitted an application. We'll get it back to you normally within 5 business days. And then once this written part of the application is all done, the only thing left to do is for you to attend one of our monthly contractor trainings where we actually walk through a live demo of the incentive application. Most of you probably remember doing this for the first time. These are normally meant for new contractors. And once you've done that, you're officially an eligible contractor in the program. And that's everything for this application. Leave it to you, Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. All right, let me go back to sharing. And we will kick it off for comments and questions. So, any thoughts, comments, feedback on what we just went through for eligible contractors and TPOs to join the program? Please feel free to come off mute or type in the chat, whatever your preference is. There anything, oh, all right, Brenna, do you want to share?
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just had a quick question about the application. The one question that says, I think it was projects per year. Is that specifically in Connecticut, or are you interested in the company as a whole? Or like
Good.
projects specifically in the program?
Yeah,
Good
this is Ed. That's a good question. We have some stuff in there that we collect just as like a getting to know you type of thing. You know, just to know your general size. So it's but it is related to how much work you either currently do or intend to do in the program specifically.
In the program itself.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And just in terms of, you know, I guess estimating size of an active / passive participant versus active only participants that we might be migrating over or something of that nature. Is that more looking at like new installs that would be enrolled in the active / passive participant style, or all projects?
Yeah, that would be new projects.
Okay. Great, thanks. And then my other question was just in terms of the contractor training. I remember attending it a bit ago, but in terms of submitting the application and then as a requirement to then attend the training again to get that kind of full sign off of approval.
So you can attend a contractor training before you submit your application too, if the timing works out that way. But yeah, so you have to submit the application and you need to attend at least one training before you're able to get into Salesforce and start submitting applications that individual customer applications that way.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We do have a question in the Q&A from Jessica. Once an approved contractor, how do you update your profile if information has changed or upload an up-to-date U1 license?
I could take that one. It's a good question. Right now, the easiest way would just be to reach out to the energy storage at ctgreenbank.com email. A few members of the team help monitor that inbox and any requests to update information on the contractor page or upload new materials or documents. You can just reach us there and someone would be happy to help get that updated for you.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Any other ways we can help streamline or this process?
One more question from Tony. Can battery applications for residential, can they be submitted at any time? Yes, once you become an eligible contractor, you can submit them whenever you have them ready.
Awesome. All right. Any other thoughts, comments, questions, feedback?
Thankfully, this is the process that contractors typically only have to do once, so we weren't expecting a ton of feedback. um, but you know, any suggestions are welcome. But if there are none, we can do. Sarah, do you think we should jump back to anything from last week, or just save it for the next one
Yeah, I
when we
think
have better answers?
that's probably, we could check and see if anybody had time to think about the individual application process that we went through in Salesforce last week. Anybody sleep on it and think about ways to streamline or documents to remove from the process, anything that's burdensome? We can open the floor for feedback there if anybody has anything regarding that process.
And as Sarah had mentioned earlier, you know, understanding it's a big group, and you know, some people may not feel comfortable speaking up. Written comments are highly encouraged. Just know it, you know, we will share it with the group unless you ask, you know, specifically to remain anonymous.
All right, well, if we
think we
don't
got-
have any, oh, we do?
Got
All right.
one question about the performance-based incentives, it looks like. Trying to understand what's the ballpark for incentives which can be shared with homeowners. So if unfortunately the performance-based incentives, those are much harder to give an accurate estimate for, just based on how active dispatch works. With the performance, with the upfront incentive, it's something that we can calculate right away based on the system size, and that typically won't change. But performance incentives vary a lot season to season, and as well as just as time goes on, as batteries degrade, performance varies there too. There is, I don't know if you're familiar, but there is a incentive calculator on the Energy Storage Solutions contractor resources page that does calculate a pretty conservative estimate for the expected 10-year performance incentives for a system. I can fish that up for you, and I can send you an email later, Abby, to help kind of clarify that question because it's a little complicated there. Also, Bill or Rob, someone from the utilities who has a little more expertise with active dispatch, feel free to jump in if you want here.
Yeah,
I
I
can
can
elaborate
go
on
ahead,
that a
Bill.
little bit.
Go
Rob, if
for
you want.
it.
So if you think about, a residential battery that might, let's say it has 15 kilowatt hours worth of storage, save 20% for after the fact. So you're going to discharge 12 over a 3-hour event. That would give you 4 kW on average. And so if you can maintain that average over all the events called through the summer, it will be 4 times that 200, which will give you $800 in the summer, and then 4 times $25 in the winter for $100 there. And so it's kind of pretty much like that. So just kind of be aware of the capacity of the battery, the percent that's going to be, and different manufacturers like to save a certain amount. You don't want to drain a battery dry, that kind of thing. It affects the lifetime. So what's the reserve that's kept in it? And then, what's left is averaged over either 2 or 3 hour events. So to be conservative, assume it's a 3-hour event. And you should be able to come up with a fairly decent calculation about what that incentive would be. And whether that goes directly to the customer or through the vendor, depends on the vendor's relationship with the customer.
Yeah,
Hopefully that
and
answers it.
the only thing that I would add to what Bill said is that, when you get into these dispatch or these active event conversations with your customer, right? Because keep in mind those batteries are on call to the utility to access once you're enrolled in the program. They are optional, so they can opt out. The other thing is if there's like a forecasted weather event or storm or utility sees a forecast where there's going to be an issue with the weather, we will not call an active dispatch event. So, you can quell any customer's fears just by letting them know that.
I will make the caveat that when we call an event, when we cancel or do not call an event because of a storm, it's going to be a wide scale storm across the state. And what we don't track are like individual rolling thunderstorms that go through Western Connecticut and might affect a county or a couple of counties in Western Connecticut. That kind of thing is not going to prevent us from calling an event should the peak of the ISO grid call us to. In other words, we can't guarantee that on a very localized level, someone might not lose power yet still have an event called.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt and Bill and Rob, for that explanation. Any other questions, thoughts, comments, ways to improve the Salesforce application process or the eligible contractor and TPO process? If we don't have any questions or comments, anybody that's not currently enrolled in the process, are you now interested in enrolling in the process? Was that helpful? Do you still have additional questions that we can help walk you through?
Sounds like we got it nailed down pretty well.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll definitely be able to give you some time back, but we can go through next steps. So let's do that.
We do have a comment or a question in the Q&A. Before we move on, sorry, one more. Curious, what is the reasoning or need for registering contractors through an application of this nature?
That's a great question.
All right, next steps. We are, all of our program materials are up on the energystorageCT.com website. We have 2 additional meetings. We have one on February 1st and one on February 8th. So please join us for those upcoming meetings. And if you have questions, written comments, thoughts, things that you think about after the webinar and you want to reach out, please email the energy storage at ctgreenbank.com email address. And then Ed, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we address, I don't know if
Yeah, I
we
think
had a
so.
delay. Jen, could you just repeat the question that came
Of
through?
course. Yeah. Sorry, Sarah. I don't know if you maybe didn't hear me, but yeah, there's one question in the Q&A. It says, curious, what is the reasoning or need for registering contractors through an application of this nature?
Good question. So for rebate programs, especially utility rebates, we've always had the requirement for eligibility because you're dealing with pretty large amount of ratepayer dollars up front. I think what's, maybe up for questioning is whether that's required or necessary for active only customers, because it's applying to something that's done after the fact. It's done by a customer, or in some cases it's done by the customer, not always. So for passive dispatch, for the upfront incentive, I really don't think we have room to consider not having eligibility in there, just as a way to protect ratepayer dollars, protect customers in the program, and make sure that we have the best possible experience. But for the active only, I think I would like to know maybe a little bit more context around the question. So if I don't know if the person who asked it, if you're willing to speak up a little bit more about that, or if you want to submit something, we can talk further about it.
Sure, thanks. I was just curious in terms of, I think, framing of an active only participant style. That answers my questions. But yes, would be interested if perhaps, if the contractor or, TPO is already actively participating in maybe rebate programs or something of that nature and has already been approved, and whether that could be streamlined if they're doing an active only participant style. Something of that nature. But happy to talk more offline. Thanks for the answer.
Yeah, one of the items that has kind of come to our attention is, if we have a customer that's transferring from Connected Solutions, we do want them to join ESS, but if their contractor wasn't eligible for ESS, it wouldn't really make sense to make them retroactively apply for work that they've already done, and it's hard to chase somebody down for that. So I think the answer of not requiring eligibility, it's not a definite that we'll go that route, but it seems like it would be difficult to enforce and it would mostly harm the customer. So we want to make sure that, if we do that, we're doing it right, and that, it's not putting anyone at risk. So, but it is on the table.
Yeah, I'll just add, I think the biggest challenge we're seeing, especially for customers that, like I said earlier, we started the call, that want to participate as an active only customer, and I answered the question in the chat, but active only dispatch is an option for the program, is getting those battery OEMs or vendors to apply to the program. If their battery, I won't mention any particular brand, is not approved for the Connecticut ESS program, that customer or owner cannot participate in active dispatch events. We need that OEM or the vendor to apply to the program so we can approve the technology itself.
Thanks, Robin. Maybe we could drop in the chat the new technology application link, so folks can review that, and OEMs can use that to apply. All right. Any other questions?
We've got one more, Sarah. So
Okay.
there's a question: is an ESS approved contractor necessary for residential ESS installation? The answer is yes. Any contractor that's installing these battery systems has to be approved. We offer, and I don't know, Ed, maybe you can chime in here. You guys do workshops at the Green Bank. There's contractor training, and that's done on a regular basis. So contractors that want to be able to install these systems can be approved to do so.
Yep, it's a pretty light requirement. It's really just you need to have insurance and you need to have the right licensing. So it's not much beyond being able to get a permit or interconnection.
And there's quite a long list. If you go to the Energy Storage Solutions website, there's a whole drop down. You can search by name. There's quite a bit of contractors there to choose from.
Awesome. All right. Any additional questions?
Yeah, thanks for the questions, everybody, and the great answers.
Right. I think the next one will be, we'll have a lot more on the application process itself for enrollment. So I'm looking forward to a good conversation next time.
Great.
Awesome. All right. Well, if we don't have anything else, we just want to thank you for joining and for going through the process. And like we said, if you have any questions, any written comments, send them on over and we can go through them. Next meeting is February 1st at 3 p.m. and we hope to see you then.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Franklin team. Thanks you. Have a great
All
day.
right. Bye.
Thanks. Take care.
All right, I'm going to stop recording.
All